What up, boys? Today is gonna be absolutely sick because we're building a freaking insane ramp. Doing a how-to video. Build a ramp just like this one. 10 simple steps. We got build lapses. We got graphics. Everything you're gonna need to build your very own amazing ramp. So let's dive right into it and get this puppy knocked out. What you're gonna need a bunch of 2x4s, quite a few 2x6s, and I usually get half of them in treated for the bottom of it, just so if you put it in dirt, it doesn't rot as easy. For like the surface wood, 3/8 plywood. For the side, at least a 1/2 inch thick plywood, or this is OSB. Just anything kind of above 1/2 inch is gonna be good. Alrighty boys, first step, you're gonna wanna make a little design. What I like to do is I take the height I want it to be. So for me, 7.5, and then I times that by 1.5. And around that is my length. So for me in this situation, we're doing 7.5 foot tall, and then I'm gonna do about 11.5 feet long. You're also gonna wanna figure out your radius for this. Mine, I'm going with a 12-foot radius. This is kind of hard to really tell you because it depends on what you want. Let's say you wanna hit it on mountain bikes or downhill bikes. You're going a pretty more mellow radius, so you're going to want like a higher number radius. I want to hit it on mountain bikes, e-bikes, dirt jumpers, so going with a 12-foot radius, that'll keep it steep enough to, you know, do tricks off 360s and stuff, but mellow enough you can still hit on e-bike. Now that we got that, the first step is setting up some plywood and cutting in your radius. Once you get your radius measured out on a piece of string, start right in the middle of your plywood. That way you can get the most out of it. And then you just want to draw your radius. Then, once you do that, you're going to want to push it forward about a foot. That way this thing will be about a foot wide. Alrighty, so we moved the wood forward about a foot. Now we're just going to do the same thing again. Draw in our radius. Cut that out, and then we can just use that as a template for all the other ones that we're gonna need.
Rewind, I haven't seen you in a long time. You got me feeling so lonely. Even when you come through, I can tell that it.
Got that first piece cut out. I'm just gonna trace it again.
Hate the way I love you, but you're so sweet. I always find a way to say the wrong things. I wish that we were laying in the same sheets, but lately you've been acting like you hardly know me.
So now that you've got all these cut, you should have 5 of them, because you're gonna combine 2 of them together. So 2 and 2 is 4, but then you're gonna want an extra one to combine them together. So you're gonna want 5 of them. And so now move on and start building some boxes. So now, what I think is pretty simple, makes it pretty easy, is I just make 2 boxes and then I put them together, if that makes sense. So we're gonna make the first box right now. So I'm using all the treated wood because this is gonna be what's on the ground. Make it as long as you need. And then for the width, what I do is I do 43 inches for the board going across, because then 1.5 inches on each side gets you up to 46 inches. Because when you put this stuff on, that stuff's 4 feet wide. Plywood that goes on top hangs off a little bit, because what you don't want is it plywood on the inside, because then it's easy for it to push through, I guess. It'll make more sense when it's built, and I'll explain it later, but yeah.
I never understood a single word he said, but I helped him drink his wine, and he always had somebody fine wine, singing joy to the world. All the boys and girls now, joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea, joy to you and
Got this whole box assembled. We squared it off in there with the tape measure. Measure from corner to corner, opposites, and then you make sure they're the same. And if they're not, you kind of got to like tweak it left or right, try and get them the same. And then put a cross brace in there. That part's pretty important if you don't square it off. Put this in there, because otherwise the whole ramp's just kind of going to be tweaked and awkward, and it's just going to make it weird. And then just put some more braces in here, 43 inches. And then since my ramp's pretty big, since we're doing an 11-foot base, I just combined these 2 boards together to make it 11 foot. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Just make a box the size you need it. We're just gonna do the exact same thing over here, except for the height. So I'm gonna make a box again, square it off, put a brace in like I did there. So this is the height. So what you're gonna wanna do is, since this is 5.5 inches tall and we want the ramp to be 7.5 foot, I'm just gonna do 7.5 feet minus this 5.5 inches down here. And so it's like 7 feet and 0.5 inches. So that's how long we're gonna make the box. And then we'll stand it up on here like that, and it'll be exactly 7.5 feet tall. So without further ado, jump in and assemble box number 2.
Knows what tomorrow will bring. Maybe sunshine and maybe rain. But as for me, I'll wait and see. And maybe it'll bring my love to me. Who knows?
Alrighty boys, got that box built. Now we got our 2 boxes. Also, you want to throw in a 2x6 right here. Pretty simple, just screws there, screws there. That way there's a platform to put that box onto here. So this part, I'm just gonna take the first box, stand it up, and yeah, if you got 2 people, that'd be great, but it's doable with just 1. You're just gonna wanna get that all lined up. Got her all lined up on the back and everything. And then that's why you add that extra piece over there, so you've got a little bit more to screw into. We'll drive those in and then we'll be even closer. Next step, we're gonna wanna brace it, and also we wanna make sure that it's straight up and down. So what we did is took this, made like a trapezoid, cut a 45-degree angle. You can do it with a speed square, or our saw's got a 45-degree angle thing. I think this is around 4 feet-ish, but you wanna make sure these are 45-degree angles. You're just gonna wanna line them up. If they are, that'll make sure that this is, 45 degrees. Alrighty, before we throw a bunch more screws on, just gonna check with this little square to make sure we are actually 45 degrees shoved in that corner. That's about as close as we're gonna get to 45 degrees. So we'll throw a few more screws in here and then just do the same thing on that side.
The king of the world, tell you what I do. Go away the cars and the bars and the walls.
That is now completed. Looking pretty good so far. Main structure is done. So next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get into these bad boys. 5 banana things we're gonna do. So now we're gonna connect them. All right, boys, you're gonna wanna take like your crappiest banana thing, cut that in half, because you're gonna use part of it to connect these 2. Then, so when you line these 2 up, you're gonna have a big gap right here, and you kind of want to get rid of that so we can get more screws in it. So just line it up about as close to the edge as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're just going to want to get these 2 boards closer and then cut that off. So line up closer so then we can get screws. So you take your piece banana that you cut in half, and the reason I like to do that instead of just attach it with like a 2x6 or something is then you can use this piece to, I guess, line up the transition from that one to this one. So then, the transition's still smooth all the way through. So you just want to line up the transition with all 3 of these and then start shooting in little 1-inch screws all the way in here, holding them together. So then once you've got them both lined up, just gonna want to fill all this in with screws, make sure they're really connected, and yeah, don't be afraid to be generous, because too much is, I don't know really if there's too much. Or there's that, I'm gonna cut that out. So this next part, you're gonna want to lay your ramp on its side, kind of for obvious reasons. You're just gonna want to line this up over here. Just gotta do a little bit more adjusting. And you want to go back and forth about 500 times. Now back again. Okay, we got it, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, you can have a perfect transition, perfectly flat at the start. Comes up, come right up to the corner. Wow, once you get it all lined up, kind of obvious. Once you flip it back down, this can't be hanging off, so you're just gonna, once you have it all lined up, make a line there. Same thing over here. You're gonna wanna mark down there, and then pull it off and cut it. There you go. Now it's all lined up. Boom. Absolutely scrumptious. Now, Throw in some screws, top, bottom, and flip it up. Also, make sure when you're doing it, so that piece you used to connect these two pieces, you're gonna want that on the outside. It'll make more sense later, but that way your studs going across, they all can just be one size, one length, and you don't have to, you know, adjust them for this piece if it was sticking out down there. So yeah, we're gonna get it drilled in and then flip it up. Transition is looking superb. Basically pretty simple. Screwed it in up top, screwed it in down here, and yeah, it's looking freaking absolutely fantastic. So now, I'm not gonna show it again because that would just be repetitive. We're just gonna do the exact same thing, except just do it on the other side and make sure that the connecting board is on the outside. See you after that's finished. Did the other side. There she is, looking pretty freaking amazing. Transition looks perfect to me. So now we're gonna just, you know, line this thing up just like that with these guys. Pretty self-explanatory. I think I'm gonna do it every foot, a brace across. So yeah, should be pretty simple. Pretty easy. I guess one thing I'd say, a lot of people put their wood in like this, which I don't really get. Definitely don't do that. The board is like way more flimsy that way than it is vertically. Your ramp's gonna be a lot stronger if you do it like that. And obviously, like down here, it starts to get thin where, you know, obviously you can't do it like that. Then it's totally fine to do it there, but it's gonna be a lot stronger and better. So we already cut a bunch of these, 46 inches. If you have been doing what I've been doing, yours can be the same. Like I was talking about earlier, that's why I put this joint piece on the outside. That way, you know, we can have the same size, you know, thing just all the way through. We don't have to change the size of these braces. Let's just throw those in there and we'll be pretty close to done.
In the summertime, when the weather is high, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, you got women on your mind. Have a drink, have a drive, go out and see what you can find.
Alrighty boys, jump is looking good. Got all the studs in there, looking nice. I did a foot between every one, and then I went back and just kind of reinforced this middle spot just because, you know, that's where most of the force is when you push into the ramp. Should be ready for this plywood, and then we're basically done with the ramp. It should be functional. Yeah, let's just jump straight into this. Throw that plywood on there, get it sheeted up, and yeah, it'll be looking good and ready to ride.
Practice Santeria, I ain't got no crystal ball. I had $1 million, but I'd spend it all if I could.
Alrighty boys, so we got the first half, put it up there, sucked it down a little bit, trimmed it. A couple tips. If you're doing a big ramp, you're gonna need 2 sheets of that. So I put one of the 2x4s flat, so then that just gives it a nice area to lay down, because you don't want that to end in the middle of 2 studs. And then what I like to do with this stuff being pretty thick, it's hard to, you know, like just push it down and screw it. So I use a ratchet strap, suck it down, throw some screws in it, and keep moving on.
Baby, what I really wanna say, I can't define. Love, make it go.
Shit. 4, 5, 6, 7.5 foot like we planned. This thing is absolutely looking amazing. Perfect. Absolutely sick. Freaking sick. Freaking stoked on it. Absolutely sick. I'm pretty pleased with it. Looks perfect to me. Can't freaking wait to ride it. So hopefully you guys learned a thing or two. Hopefully you guys will be able to make yours as well. So yeah, we're gonna paint it, but yeah, painting it's pretty self-explanatory.
Early in the evening, just about supper time, over by the courthouse, they're starting to unwind. 4 kids on the corner, trying to bring you up. Willie picks a tune out and he blows it on the hum. Down on the corner, out in the street, playing the po-po's a playing, bringing it up happy feet. Rooster hits the white road, people just
Alrighty boys, there she is. Absolutely scrumptious. Stoked on this thing. These videos are pretty boring, so congrats on getting through it, but hopefully you learned something. If you guys want to see this ramp in action, click right here. Absolutely killer video. And yeah, stay tuned. See you in the next one. Hopefully for something a little more interesting.